All right, so let's talk about the projects. This is the most important part of the class, I think. I mean, reading the chapter and answering the quiz is all right for theory, but most people come here to really do something hands-on, and I got a whole series of projects. So by next week, you should be making progress like a D1 and D2. We're not enforcing due dates on these things, and like I say, if you have any troubles, come to these Saturday sessions. I'm teaching a Saturday class, and I can help people there. What's that?
What time?
10:30. 10:30 here.
In the same room, right?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this class will not meet in this room after this week. This room will be busy. We'll have to move to Cloud 218, and I'll send an email about that and put it on my webpage. But anyway, but yeah, in this room, I'm here every Saturday, and I can help anybody if you come in at 10:30 or so, 10:30 to noon. So the hands-on projects are down here. There they are. And there's a bunch of required projects, and then there's extra credit projects, and I'll probably add more. So the extra credit makes up for anything else you don't want to do. But you're going to need to have a Windows machine and a Linux machine, and you're going to set up DNS servers, obviously. What else would you do? So if you have a relatively powerful home machine, most normal laptops can do it now, you can run virtual machines locally. So this is probably the most popular thing for students to do, is to run a local virtual machine. And so what you do is you can use any version of Windows Server, but these days the version that Microsoft will give you a free trial of is their latest version, 2022, which is fine. So you go to this website and you can get an ISO for an evaluation copy of Windows Server that's good for 180 days, which is fine. So you download this ISO file. You have to make a Microsoft account if you don't have one, but it's free. And then you have to install Windows. Using a virtualization client, you can use VirtualBox or VMware, or there are other things like QEMU and stuff. But most people who use Windows, you use virtual VMware. If you're using a Mac, you use VirtualBox typically, although VMware has a free version for the Mac too now, VMware Fusion Player. So you create a virtual machine, and then you just go through a Windows installation process, which you've probably seen, and if you haven't, there's steps here. You just answer a lot of questions. And the most important thing, though, is make sure you get the desktop experience. The default install of Windows Server is a server with no graphics, no Windows, no browser, no nothing. And that is not what you want. That's hard to use. So that's why make sure you choose the one with desktop experience. And then you'll get a normal Windows desktop when you're done. You choose a name and a password, and you'll end up with a normal desktop with a server. And then I'll demonstrate the rest of this live after I'm going, because I have a problem that some of you are going to have. I have a Mac M1. If you have the M1 or the M2, you cannot do what I just described because your processor is ARM instead of Intel. And Windows has a version of Windows 11 that runs on ARM, but they have not made a server version at all that runs on ARM. There is one, but it's in closed internal beta. You can't get it because currently there is no market for servers running ARM. So Microsoft is not motivated to write a version of Windows Server that runs on ARM. So what you need to do is use Azure instead. And so let me just demonstrate that. That's what if you have something like somebody here had like an iPad, you have an iPad or a Mac M1 or some other machine that cannot run a server locally, you have to use cloud services. And that's what I put here, cloud server on Azure. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah?
How can you tell you have M1, M2?
How can you what?
How can you tell?
Oh, how can you tell? Well, the easiest thing is, I think About This Mac should tell you. Yep, MacBook Air M1. They were all Intel. If it doesn't say M1 or M2, then it's Intel. That's a good question. Yeah, and M1 and M2 run ARM. All right, so if you can't run it locally, you use Azure, which is what I got here. So if you go here, you can get a free service from Azure for being a student. You have to make a Microsoft Live account and then create an Azure for Students account, and then you'll get some free service from Azure. The only thing about it, which I'll demonstrate, is you have to make sure to turn off your machine when you're not using it, or it'll burn through all your money and you'll run out. So I've got my Azure open in another browser here, if it didn't close on me yet. Looks like it didn't. All right, so here's my Azure. So once you've signed up and got an account, you can then go here and you can just create a virtual machine. So I'm going to create an Azure virtual machine. And now I just want a server. So virtual machine name, this is going to be DNS In East Coast, I don't really care, but I guess I'd rather be in the West Coast. It might give me slightly faster service. I don't care about zones, don't care about security. Image. Default is Ubuntu Server, which is kind of hilarious for Microsoft. The default is not Windows, but that's not what I want. I want Windows. There we are, Windows Server 22. Azure, sure, we'll try Server 22. See how that would be fine? Okay, Windows Server. And they won't let me choose ARM. Obviously, that's why I'm doing this. You can only run this on x64, which is Intel. So that's fine. And I can choose different sizes. Here's the size, 2 CPUs and 8 gigs of memory, which is fine. Notice that would cost me $130 to run for a month. And I think an Azure student account only gives you $100 of free service. That's why you can't leave it on. You have to turn it off when you're not using it, or you'll burn through that money. And now I choose username and password. I'll be admin, and my password. See if it'll take that. All right. May or may not like my password. And I'll allow RDP in, which is what I need. And then I just click Review and Create. Validation failed for basic networking. Okay, what did I do wrong? All right. I'll have to go back to previous. It didn't like some answer about networking. Oh, okay. Tags or name value pairs. How about networking? Okay. This will allow all IPs to address fine. Load balancing, I don't care about any of that. Well, All right, let's see. What have I done wrong here? Management. Might have to actually read the instructions. Monitoring, I don't care about any of that. Advanced. You saw something?
Go back to basic.
Back to good. There's probably something wrong here, right? Oh, this stuff. It doesn't like. Does that highlight mean it's bad? No, the check mark means it's okay. All right. Oh, this stuff. Usernames must not include reserved words. Oh, okay. All right. How about Sam? Okay. Good. Thank you. Let's see if it'll take it now. Cost given below is an estimate, 18 cents an hour. That's more like it. Okay. You have RDP open. That's correct. That's what I want. Here's I'll save that in my local browser so I don't forget it.
Did you slow down your computer by any chance? Because I have another.
No, it should not slow down your computer. It's just like viewing a website. It's all running on their server.
I mean, not the other one.
The other one will consume a lot of resources. Yes, running a virtual machine will draw a lot of power and be a pretty heavy burden on your machine. Yes. So, yeah. That's why you need a fairly powerful machine to do it. You need like at least 4 gigs of RAM, which is not that much anymore. And yeah. All right, so deployment is probably good. It's working. All right, that's what you do. Now I'm running on Microsoft servers, and it takes a couple of minutes to launch typically. And there is a way, by the way, to make it automatically turn off every 24 hours, which I highly recommend so you don't forget and leave it on. This happens to some of my students every semester. They accidentally use up all their free service, and then it's a problem. You can also get some free service from Google, but it's kind of hard to get. Yeah.
So I heard that even though you shut off the VM, they're still charging you for the storage, right?
Yes, they charge you something for storage, but it's really small. So that's right. But if you leave it on, then it's a lot. If you turn it off, it's a small amount. Like I've had some that have been turned off, and I get charged like $2 a month. So the storage of a machine that's turned off is really small. So it's still deploying. Okay. So I succeeded. Good. Go to resource. That didn't take very long. It depends. Sometimes the cloud is busier than others. So there's my IP address, and that's all I really need. So I'm just going to copy this IP address. And now I need to connect with RDP. There is a Mac RDP client, which remote, Microsoft Remote Desktop. That's what I want. If you have a Windows machine, it's built in. And so now I can add a new machine here, add PC, and I just need to give it that IP address. And now, user account, I'm going to make a new user account. Okay, with the SAM and my top secret password. And friendly name is going to be Sam Azure Demo. All right. Add that. Okay. And that should do it. It needs the IP address and login information. So now if I double click that, it should connect. Oh, yes. City College blocks RDP on the wireless network. This is important to know. In fact, I might not be able to demonstrate anymore today for this reason, unless I can connect to the wired network, because I think they're now blocking my VPN. I'm going to try to switch to my VPN, which might interrupt the stream a bit. And if it's like the other building, they might not let me use my VPN. Let me check this. If I ping google.com, I was afraid of this. I'm not sure. I think I might not be on the internet anymore. Yep, I see red down there. I think they're blocking VPNs, which is new this semester. Yep. This is a problem. I'm going to have to stop using the VPN. And see, this red tells me the streaming is not working. Hopefully that will... Yep, that's recovering. Okay, so the VPN is blocked. The only other thing I can try is going through my cell phone. Other than that, I'm going to be in trouble here. I do have unfiltered network available through my phone, but when I tried this, it didn't work recently too. Personal hotspot is on. Let's see if I can get on. This also will interrupt the stream, but let's see if it works. iPhone. Failed to enable. Afraid of that. I turn this off. And then on again. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm in trouble. I can't get to my Azure machine. Well, all right. Then I'm going to have to bring in a router and connect to the wired network. There's a PC here I could use. Okay, am I going to be able to record it over there? Well, all right, I'm going to stop this recording. I think that might be all the demo I can do today.